So let's see, what do I actually remember of the Bible past this point? Because the creation, Garden of Eden, Cain and Abel, Noah and the flood, I remember everything here so far. I believe Abraham going to offer Isaac for a sacrifice happens in Genesis a little later. Um, I don't remember if Sodom and Gomorrah happens in Genesis or if that's in a later book. Yeah, I don't really remember. What is the next big Bible thing that I remember? I guess Exodus, which is when Moses gets like asked to leave by the Pharaoh and he goes wander in the desert for 40 years with all his buddies. And the whole Prince of Egypt movie. And then like, there's some books I don't really remember anything from off the top of my head, like Deuteronomy, Leviticus. Like, I'm sure things happen in there, even important things, but I don't remember. So those will be kind of fun to revisit if we ever get through Genesis. It's a long one with a lot of slog, but a lot of interesting things too. Like some of these chapters are fun to read because they're just crazy, batshit stuff happening. Um, Other ones not so much, very repetitive and dull. But let's see what chapter 11 has for us in the World English Bible. The whole earth was of one language and of one speech. Flip back to chapter 10. These are the sons of Shem by their families according to their languages, lands, and nations. I guess he's talking about modern day back in chapter 10. Because now they're saying the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. Okay, sure, whatever you say. That sounds like it was never the case. But whatever you say. The whole earth was of one language and of one speech. As they traveled east, they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they lived there. They said to one another, "Come, let's make bricks and burn them thoroughly." Sorry. If a friend told me, "Come, let's make bricks," I would have been like, I don't need to go right now. That's all I got. I just wasn't expecting, "Come, let's make bricks." Like, ah, shit, yeah, it's brick making time, dude. They said to one another, like they're all stoked about this. Let's make bricks and we're gonna burn them thoroughly. We're not gonna half-ass the burning. They had brick for stone and they used tar for mortar. They said, "Come, let's build ourselves a city and a tower whose top reaches to the sky, and let's make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered abroad on the surface of the whole earth." We'll just keep reading. Yahweh came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men built. Yahweh said, "Behold, they are one people, and they all have one language, and this is what they begin to do. Now nothing will be withheld from them which they intend to do. Come, let's go down, and there confuse their language, that they may not understand one another's speech." Why? What's wrong with building the big tower? Like, yeah, I don't fully get it, but if that's what other people wanted to do is just build a big tower, I'd be like, sure, man. Like, monuments are cool. Like, we have a lot of interesting things that humans have made that are still standing today that we just like go and look at and appreciate because it's like, wow, people a long time ago when we were here and piled these rocks up to look like a cat person. That's awesome. That's really fucking cool. But apparently God's not a fan. Like, it's like once they're done with the tower, I assume they're gonna do other shit. They might even use the tower to help people. Are they building the tower because they share the same language? It seems like that's a different thing. Why is that being intertwined here? And God's like, let's go down and fuck with them. So Yahweh scattered them abroad from there on the surface of all the earth. And they're like, damn, this is exactly what we didn't want. This is why we're trying to build the tower. They stopped building the city. Therefore, its name was called Babel, because there Yahweh confused the language of all the earth. From there, Yahweh scattered them abroad on the surface of all the earth. What a dick. Why doesn't he want us to be together? Why doesn't he want us working together on projects? What the fuck? I can't imagine a justification for this. And neither can Christians. So they just say, well, he works in mysterious ways. He's beyond human knowledge. And it's like, but then what are we supposed to learn from any of this? Other than that punishments are arbitrary and can happen to you at any time, even though you're trying your best to do good for everybody. Like, that's not a good lesson. I mean, I guess it's true, but it's less about punishment and more just about things happen. It's not about you. It's not about human morality. It's about just stuff happening. And I feel like we'd be able to make decisions more clearly, more easily, if we could just see what was happening instead of inventing morality that's counter to reality. This is the history of the generations of Shem. So I guess now that they've all been scattered, they're still having kids, just in a bunch of different places. Shem was 100 years old when he became the father of Arpachshad 2 years after the flood. Shem lived 500 years after he became the father of Arpachshad and became the father of more sons and daughters. Arpachshad lived 35 years and became the father of Shelah. Arpachshad lived 403 years after he became the father of Shelah and became the father of more sons and daughters. Shelah lived 30 years and became the father of Eber. Shelah lived 403 years after he became the father of Eber and became the father of more sons and daughters. Eber lived 34 years and became the father of Peleg. Eber lived 430 years after he became the father of Peleg and became the father of more sons and daughters. Peleg lived 30 years and became the father of Reu. Peleg lived 209 years after he became the father of Reu and became the father of more sons and daughters. Reu lived 32 years and became the father of Serug. Reu lived 207 years after he became the father of Serug and became the father of more sons and daughters. Serug lived 30 years and became the father of Nahor. Serug lived 200 years after he became the father of Nahor and became the father of more sons and daughters. Nahor lived 29 years and became the father of Terah. Nahor lived 119 years after he became the father of Terah and became the father of more sons and daughters. Terah lived 70 years and became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Now this is the history of the generations of Terah. Terah became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Haran became the father of Lot. Haran died in the land of his birth, in Ur of the Chaldees, while his father Terah was still alive. Abram and Nahor married wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah, the daughter of Haran, who was also the father of Iscah. Sarai was barren. She had no child. Terah took Abram his son, Lot the son of Haran, his son's son, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife. They went from Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan. They came to Haran and lived there. The days of Terah were 205 years. Terah died in Haran. If it sounds like I know what I'm talking about when I'm reading it aloud, I really don't. Canaan, Haran, Banan, Balan is my main takeaway. Like, this is nonsense. I don't know what to make of this. Sorry, it's not nonsense entirely. Like, they're trying to describe this family setup, but the way that it's written makes it really difficult for me to picture. If it was drawn out as like a family tree, it would probably be a little easier for me to follow. But it's not that important to me anyway. Like, I don't think any of these people are real or that their relations to each other actually matter all that much in the grand scheme of like what can we take from the Bible to help us in our daily lives. And to elaborate on something I said before, I feel like when Moses does these lineages, he's kind of just trying to make his story seem more realistic. He's trying to give more weight to the descendants by saying like, this is how far back your family goes, and for like hundreds of years your family was, prospering in this part of the country, and like just trying to make them more special. It's all meaningless to me. It's all just numbers and names. Like, I don't believe any of this. So that's the World English Bible version. Now let's look at the King James Version. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, Go to, let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, Go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men builded. And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So God doesn't want them building the tower because the tower will unite them, because the tower will empower them. Nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. God, imagine humans being able to meet their goals. God doesn't want that. God hates us. God wants to keep us down and suffering. That's where he wants us. That's where he keeps pushing us. We didn't know he didn't want a tower. We were trying to build a tower because it just seemed like a good idea, you know? He punishes us for pursuing good ideas. What an asshole. I don't want to worship this guy. I hope he's not real. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. These are the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old, and begat Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. And Shem lived after he begat Arphaxad 500 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Arphaxad lived 35 years, and begat Salah. And Arphaxad lived after he begat Salah 403 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Salah lived 30 years, and begat Eber. And Salah lived after he begat Eber 403 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Eber lived 34 years, and begat Peleg. And Eber lived after he begat Peleg 430 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Peleg lived 30 years, and begat Reu. And Peleg lived after he begat Reu 209 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Reu lived 32 years, and begat Serug. And Reu lived after he begat Serug 207 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Serug lived 30 years, and begat Nahor. And Serug lived after he begat Nahor 200 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Nahor lived 29 years, and begat Terah. And Nahor lived after he begat Terah 119 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years, and begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran, and Haran begat Lot. And Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his nativity, in Ur of the Chaldees. And Abram and Nahor took them wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, and the father of Iscah. But Sarai was barren. She had no child. And Terah took Abram his son, and Lot the son of Haran, his son's son, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife, and they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan, and they came unto Haran, and dwelt there. And the days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. God's an asshole who doesn't want us to succeed. He would prefer us to suffer at every turn. He shuts us down and makes us suffer. Why do you worship this thing? Why do you even believe this thing? Why do you believe Moses? When you believe a God like this, like you believe this is the perfect role model, this is the being above us all, this is what you're trying to serve, something that can't even tell you if you're doing the right thing, something that has never clearly established a goal for us to follow. And again, I'm still in Genesis. But why did anyone keep reading past this point? Or did they trick you? Did they show you a different part first to like get you invested? I am curious. That's it for chapter 11, though. Not a lot to say. The story of Babel is an upsetting display of God being a dickhole, just limiting us for no reason, no discernible reason. Like, if he told us why we shouldn't want that, maybe we would agree and be like, all right, guys, no more towers. But he doesn't. He just punishes. That is his only language. So, we'll see what happens in chapter 12 next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.